3DS in what could be called a severe awkward phase, Super Mario 3D Land couldn't have arrived at a better time. Don't expect a simple 2D side-scroller though. While its title harkens back to the series of Game Boy classics, Super Mario 3D Land utilizes the third dimension in exceedingly clever ways, and it's easy to be dazzled by the results. Is it really just a gimmick to showcase the hardware, or is there some genuine Mario magic here? Bowser is at it again, absconding with Princess Peach and turning the Mushroom Kingdom upside down in the process. Expect the usual uproar, Koopas running rampant, Goombas stinking up the place, and Thwomps impeding your progress at the most inopportune instances. Only this time, they'll all very likely be sporting Tanuki tails. In terms of structure, Super Mario 3D Land takes a cue from the past. You start in World 1-1, and by the time you've trounced Bowser at the end of World 8, you'll have jumped, propellered, or tightrope walked across several dozen levels, hewing to wildly differing themes, and designed around a vast variety of gimmicks. You'll know you're done with a level when you hop on the flagpole at its end, your first time through anyway. Though far from the sprawling playgrounds you'll remember from Super Mario Galaxy, each level does have 3 star coins to collect, and you'll start to feel strapped for them once you get far enough in and find your way blocked because you're short a few. Most of the levels are short enough to be completed in a couple of minutes, but their brevity doesn't speak to their ambition. The game draws deep from the vast history of Super Mario, incorporating tricks and conventions from all over the place to deliver an experience that continually surprises you. Some levels evoke the 3D Mario games in miniature, with layouts that reward curiosity and encourage leisurely exploration. In others, you'll be challenged to beat the clock while the ground literally falls apart beneath you. Whether you're fond of airships, water levels, or ghost mansions, there's a good chance your favorite Super Mario trope is represented. Camera angles shift and pivot frequently and playfully, usually to keep pace with the brisk levels, but very often just to delight you with the sense of depth the 3D hardware brings to the world. By maintaining authorial control of where the camera is pointing at all times, 3D Land's designers have obligated themselves to present each section of the game in a way that's visually appealing as well as playable. They've succeeded for the most part, but you'll undoubtedly encounter some instances where a weird angle will cause you to stumble. It won't come as a shock that there's more to do once you've whooped Bowser, but the breadth of what's unlocked might surprise you. After you finish the last castle, you get access to a series of special worlds that remix the elements in each of the regular ones. In many cases, they've changed so radically as to feel entirely new. Even less surprising is the fact that you unlock Luigi after beating the first special world. Letting the underdog Mario brother have his moment in the spotlight is both spiritually fulfilling and rewarding in terms of mechanics, as his jumps are higher and his handling is noticeably different from his siblings. Yeah! Mario controls just like you'd expect him to in a 3D world, equipped with all the variations of jumps, leaps, and butt stomps he's been using since he first broached the third dimension. The health system, if you want to call it that, most closely resembles that of the 2D games. If you're using a power-up, you lose it when you get hit, get smacked again, and you shrink. After the third hit, it's curtains. The mix suits the game well overall, with plenty of opportunity for deft players to make the most of Mario's skills in the game's brief levels. As all the stripe-tailed denizens of the Mushroom Kingdom suggest, the Tanuki suit from Super Mario Bros. 3 is back in 3D Land, and its ability to slap enemies and slow your descent as you fall will be of no small utility in this precarious world. There's also a special version of the Tanuki suit in the Special Worlds that allows you to morph into a statue, rendering you impervious to enemies. When you count the fire and boomerang flowers, the latter lets you hurl projectiles that hurt enemies as well as retrieve distant items. Mario is suitably equipped to take on the worst that Bowser and company can concoct. The game starts out manageably, but eventually ramps up to a pretty significant challenge. To take the edge off, there's a special Tanuki suit that spawns when you begin a level after dying 5 times. You're impervious to damage while wearing it, but the pits still kill you. After 10 deaths, you're given a free P-Wing that'll automatically zap you to the end of the current stage. It bears note, though, that these crutches aren't available in the special worlds. If you want to go that deep into 3D Land, you better bring your A-game. Though 3D Land utilizes the 3DS's capabilities with admirable restraint when it comes to level building, there are plenty of gee-whiz moments that'll have you marveling at its ingenuity. The aesthetics of Super Mario are burned into our consciousness at this point, but seeing this world come alive in such a fashion has enabled us to view it with fresh eyes. This is one game where you'll want to keep the 3D slider cranked up at all times. Everything else is business as usual, with music that's as infectious as ever, and sound effects that hit all the right nostalgic notes. Super Mario 3D Land proves that gaming's most enduring mascot is also its most adaptable. Is the advent of affordable 3D consumer technology ultimately just a blip on gaming's radar? Who knows? What matters for us now is that Mario's thriving in stereoscopic 3D. As usual, it's because the novel tech is really just there to help punctuate what's made Mario great all along, the timeless fundamental gameplay that's been in the process of refinement for decades.
Yeah.